I'm Georgia Alfredas.
And I'm Dave Mathews, and this is What's Next Wall Street.
This is a show about winning trades.
That's right. We want to help you learn about trading in a fun, entertaining, and most importantly, a useful way.
Yeah, we're going to talk about all the hot, new, trending products and services that you'll not only want to use, but also invest in.
We'll also cover the fundamentals of those companies to make you an informed trader and make it easier to target investment potential. Plus, we'll share our thoughts on where the charts and indicators say a particular stock is going.
So all of this stuff, all of this info can help you create a tailored trade plan and stay up to speed on what's next Wall Street so that all you got to do is stack
your
those
gains.
gains. I told you not to say it with me ever again.
Well, you can email us at OptionsPlayers.com or hit us up on social media at What's Next Wall Street with your questions. We can also direct you to instructors and experts over at Options Players who dig into the trading fundamentals.
Yes, sirs. So you can watch this episode on Options Players YouTube channel or listen on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
There's a lot going on in China, which is why I wore my Red Army t-shirt. From their banning of all crypto transaction and the financial teetering of Evergrande, one of China's biggest real estate developers and part of the Global 500. See, they recently missed a key payment of over $80 million to overseas bondholders, and they gave no explanation.
Neither do I. You'll get that payment when you get that payment.
Real estate accounts for 30% of China's GDP. Evergrande has a grace period of up to 30 days, so the next couple weeks are crucial. Meanwhile, Evergrande is more than just a real estate company. They're invested in electric vehicles, groceries, sports, and theme parks. The company even has a soccer team and the world's largest soccer school, which cost a cool $185 million.
Wow, wonder how much it costs to go there. So it looks like Evergrande got into financial trouble the same way everybody else does. Borrowing money with reportedly $300 billion in liabilities. Now, China's central bank is starting to intervene now with the People's Bank of China, promising to protect consumers and even injecting more money into the banking system. So, I mean, it may help.
Sounds like the U.S. government. Well, this has already disrupted global markets, but since the government controls so many aspects of commercial entities, we expect a bailout like you've never seen before, or at least some diversification of their mass holdings into separate entities. So do you guys remember Schoolhouse Rock, the Saturday morning series that taught us all the knowledge is power and I'm just a bill sitting on Capitol Hill?
I literally remember the preamble to this day because of Schoolhouse Rock, and I can totally sing the whole thing.
Too much. Well, we have time. You want to hear it? I'd like to.
Okay, go. 1787, I'm told our founding fathers all sat down.
I was kidding. I did not expect that, though. That was kind of beautiful.
All right. If you want you want to hear the adjective song?
No. You're bringing up my nerd PTSD.
Okay.
Let's get back to this pro tip, though.
Okay.
Preparation is key. And yes, Georgia, knowledge is power.
See?
We hear those sayings all the time, but do they really apply to trading? Well, absolutely. In fact, they both are crucial to keeping emotions out while stacking. So knowledge and preparation of basic trading procedures while understanding when the latest stock market news and events are released is crucial. Events like the Fed interest rate plans, economic outlook, data figures, and earnings report dates play major roles in inter-stock movements, so we take advantage. We suggest every weekend be your preparation day as you scour the feeds to understand what's coming up and when. Of course, this is all done for you if you're with Options Players, as they alert this in the OP wire each market day, 90 minutes before the bell. Trading is not easy, so you must take advantage of every opportunity to stack and protect. We hope this tip helps you with the process.
Okay, this is the part of the show where we get to hear from you. Of course, you can always hit us up on social media at What's Next Wall Street, or you can email us at WNW@OptionsPlayers.com. So let's get into it. John from Boston, Mass. asks, what is going on with China? How should we treat stocks like BIDU and BIDU? And they used to be like high flyers, but now they're so cheap. Are they worth the risk? Good question. I don't know it, so I don't know the answer. So let's bring in Greg Krause, lead instructor at OptionsPlayers.com, to answer this one. Now, what do you think, Greg? Are these good buys or more like risky business? We can do that dance too. Like, why does everything have to do with either a TV show or yes? What's wrong with us? Because we're
Greg.
80s babies.
So for Baba and BIDU, I actually think they're a little bit underpriced, actually. This time last year, both of them were about twice the current price that they currently are. All right. So it's a little weird. So BIDU is probably the less riskier of the two. It's about a year, 52-week range, low about 122, high about 355. But really what is interesting is it doesn't have a lot of issues that Alibaba or Baba has. And that is the Chinese government coming after it. And we'll talk about that here in a second. But there are many ways to evaluate a company's worth, right? So let's just use one of the standard discounted cash flows. So what is the expected cash flow, so profit, that they're going to actually make over, say, the next 10 years? Now, we have to make assumptions on what that growth will be. And I even assume that BIDU will actually decline in their cash flow over the next few years and then increase. But doing that using the discounted cash flow, I gave my cost of capital around 8.5, and then kept their growth around 3% a year, give or take. It moved up and down, but I think they're about 60% undervalued. So I think that risk is people think China's economy will collapse, but I think that's kind of weird. Because we're too globally connected right now. So if China collapses, so does the United States. And if the United States economy crashes, so will China. Just too much intertwined financials there. I mean,
Greg, a couple decades
ago, Chinese investments are in our bonds.
A couple decades ago, wasn't Japan in the same situation with the U.S.? Everything was so intertwined with Japanese real estate holdings and interest payments, et cetera.
Yeah, exactly. And now I think BIDU is, undervalued. Now, if you want to talk about Baba, it's been getting slapped by the government left and right. I think they just had like a $16 billion, basically, let's just call it a tax, but it wasn't really a tax, to fund social equity funds, basically to address some Beijing's concerns, trying to help some people out. And to really think about it, and for the average investor, try to find out where mutual funds, where investment groups and funds are actually putting their money. And you'll see that BIDU still has a pretty high rate of what we call institutional investors, okay? And then while Baba only has very low. It's probably down to about 10%. So when you have someone with 5 times the amount of institutional investors, there's probably something that most average traders are going to miss. They know something we don't know. If you think you're getting the news and that's what it is, just imagine they have thousands of people at every bank working to try to find out exactly what's going on. So if you start seeing them leaving companies, that is an issue. And I think that's kind of where Baba is. I think it's kind of they might be leaving it just based upon the risk of the Chinese government. But then BIDU is, on the other hand, they're not a huge the Chinese government hasn't set its eyes on them or anything like that. They actually benefited from all the Chinese actions, limiting Google, limiting everyone else. So I think its value right now. I think it's probably its value of the present value of the future earnings of cash flow, right? I think it's probably puts the value of the company around $390 per share. And we're only like at 150 something, I believe, right now. So it's a huge discount. Now, you still have the risks of investing in a Chinese company right now, although it's listed in the United States. As you were just talking about, they did not pay United States bondholders there. So I'm not talking about BIDU and that, but it's that relationship between China and the United States. What risk is there when actually investing in that? But I would say don't put all your money on any one stock. But of course, if you're going to pick one of those two, it's BIDU. BABA could go just as high. I just think there's a little bit more risk there. So I would stick with BIDU if you just had to have one foreign tech company over there.
We took the long way around the block with that one for
yeah,
sure.
but we know it's BIDU.
It's BIDU. But here's the key. The world is so intertwined now. It's not just the internet tying everything together, but financial markets are tied together as well because there's so much lending across international borders. The key for me is to watch what investors are doing, the institutional plays. So the IRAs, the
401ks.
401ks, the groups that are the institutions are always betting on safe money. So they're not going after the Robin Hoods, that's for sure.
Right.
All right, let's take another email. We've got Emily from Sacramento, California, and she writes, what is the crypto tax loophole I keep hearing about, and how is it applicable? Well, that's a great question, Emily. When you sell Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency for a lower price than you paid, you get to claim a capital loss for the year of that transaction. That loss can offset any capital gains for the same year. If you don't have enough capital gains to offset, you can offset up to $3,000 of ordinary income per year. Now, the loophole, or for those gamers, the cheat code here, is that there are no wash rules in crypto, meaning that you can sell your Bitcoin and buy it right back, whereas with a stock, you would have to wait for 30 days to buy and sell that same stock. Now, that's because crypto is classified as property versus a security. This paves the way for tax loss harvesting maneuvers. But as always, you should consult your tax advisor on how to apply these rules to your situation because I'm not your tax advisor.
That's right.
Now, this most likely will change as regulations are introduced. So research this now and take advantage of it while you can.
Yeah.
So if you have a question, we can find the answer. You can always hit us up on social media at What's Next Wall Street or email us at WNW@OptionsPlayers.com. So Apple spends a lot of money on advertising and even posts billboards in Las Vegas stating, what happens in the iPhone stays in the iPhone. But their recent approaches to technology have some people, including the EFF or Electronic Frontier Foundation, unsettled. They're talking about using artificial intelligence to look at photos and iMessages sent to the cloud from your phone to alert moderators about potential child pornography or worse, abuse. Also, a new feature looks at what you're doing physically in order to determine the potential for depression and cognitive decline.
Okay. I can see how they might get that information like from your Apple Watch because, when I'm working out, you can see my heart rate, my movement, other activity. But what is going on with this?
Well, in regard to the photography monitoring, this is a slippery slope. If machine learning starts looking for one type of image today, then what's to keep a government or bad actor from looking at other photo types as well, like freedom to bear arms or participating in demonstrations? Regarding the mental health, your watch and phone, has accelerometers to collect the data of your movements. Just like what happens now with their stand-up, you've been sitting too long alerts, and the screen time function that shows how many hours more or less you've used your phone that week. When you're depressed, you move less, and this could be a sign that you need to get some help.
All right, well, screen time, that's depressing. It's my real-time evidence of how much I'm doom scrolling on the ground.
So Adam Mosseri, head executive at Instagram, has even talked about taking a break features that they could put inside of Instagram to keep your head out of their app.
They should.
But Chinese phones from Xiaomi take owner spying to a new level with 449 pre-programmed words in a censorship blacklist that they're looking for users typing. Words like free Tibet or democracy movement, even long live Taiwan independence.
Wow.
Once these words are detected, I'm assuming you'll get added to a nice little database in China. But what will happen? Well, just look at what happened to the two Canadians that were just released as a backhanded kidnapping olive branch in response to the house arrest of former chief financial officer of the same Chinese telecom company, Highway, for misappropriation of funds. Incidentally, both the United States, the United Kingdom, and now Germany have called Highway an untrustworthy provider of telecom equipment. This was due to their ability to create backdoors in the network, which could render data going across those networks vulnerable. Think about how important your digital life has become. And by virtue of this data going across your mobile phone and its network, all those companies have the potential to muck with your life.
Wow. Let me tell you something. If my husband could put something like package just delivered, if he could put those, he would get that alert every day if he could. This kind of stuff makes you like never want to use your cell phone, honestly.
Yeah, well, even O.J. Simpson was tracked by his cell phone. Remember his friend A.C. Cowling driving the white Ford
Way
Bronco?
back then.
Down the 405 in Irvine,
Yes.
California. So he was found through cell tower tracking on the AirTouch cellular networks back in the analog days of 1994.
Crazy. So they probably should have been tracking that glove, but that's another story. Okay, Dave, there's only one thing my kids want for Christmas. Every Christmas, it's electronics. And the holiday season is upon us. I know you're thinking, no, it's not. But when you have kids, it never stops. But it's just not going to happen this year. If you thought you were getting a new Apple 13 or a brand new Tesla, think again. Although Elon Musk says Tesla is going to continue to invest in China and praise China as its global leader of digitalization. But 2021 is shaping up to be an underwear and socks kind of year. I'm telling you right now.
I'm sorry for your kids.
Wait. Does a light bright count as an electronic? Because that might work. Although in some Chinese factories are operating as normal, others suspended production for a couple of days to comply with new energy consumption policies for commercial buildings. You would not believe this is so crazy. Some of them had candlelight. I could shop by candlelight, but most other people don't like that.
So even Apple's supplier Unimicron Technology, which makes printed circuit boards, is one of those factories. That's all we need now, a new man-made fabricated shortage.
Okay, sources say some malls, as I said, and shops closed early while others operated by candlelight. China is dealing with a coal shortage. So, of course, coal prices are surging, but we're trying to get away from coal, right? Some people see this as political, but I'm just wondering, do we need to be buying coal or should we be buying into these new green energies? I mean, I'm a tree hugger, so I want to save the earth and buy into something more sustainable, but my husband is a heathen and thinks coal is the most reliable and will last forever. So without getting political like I kind of just did, let's get Greg, lead instructor at OptionsPlayers.com, to explain. Greg, I hope you stuck around. There is so much to unpack here, but the ultimate question is, should we be looking at investing in coal or green energies?
All right, so if you had to pick one, coal or green energies over the next 20 years, I would say green energies. Now, coal is not going anywhere, but for energy in the United States, it's probably going to keep getting weaned up. We used to use almost exclusively coal, just like China is now. But when you look at who uses coal now, it's China. China uses more coal than everyone else in the world put together. So that's why there's a coal shortage there. Now, with that coal, just think about coal the same thing we think about gas prices, okay? Is there any shortage of gas? No, someone's holding on to it. Maybe they don't want to sell it. They want to control the actual coal price. And China has reserves that can probably currently last them about 35 years of coal. They're just not releasing it. They're leaving it in their reserves. And they're purchasing everything up now, or importing coal. So everyone else is going to feel this ripple effect that actually import coal. The United States is not a coal importer. We have plenty of coal. If we want it, we can just mine it. But
I know that's true because every year I get it
it
for Christmas.
Yeah.
I know you get it for Christmas.
Yeah. So now with all the tech gone, that's right. You might just get that coal instead of those socks. But yeah, if you're going to invest in one, this is just in my opinion, coal has many uses. People don't understand when you make steel and things like that, coal gets turned into what they kind of call coke, but it's like a little powdery substance that helps you make steel and things like that. I used to trade commodities. Coal wasn't my subject, but I got a little bit of work in there with some coal once. But I would say on the energy spectrum, even green energies long term, when I mean long, I mean I'm gone, all right, from this earth. I don't even think what we consider green energies is really efficient. I mean, first off, how green are some green energies? Solar, the most efficient energy there is, most likely, still has a lot of, waste, especially in the technology and things like that, and the storage of the power. I honestly think what's going to be the energy of the future, we just look at it very negative now, will be nuclear power, but that's just my opinion. So I just don't think we can actually use, you could do studies on your own, but if we currently use the whole world use solar power, it would take every square inch of Texas. Now, people that don't live in Texas, you might not understand how big Texas is. It's basically Europe, okay? So,
at least that's what we think in Texas. We think
well,
we're
it's
Europe.
really that big, to be honest. It's
yes.
humongous. So if you have to cover every square inch of Texas with solar power to power what we currently use, but the problem is we increase the uses of power so dramatically that it compounds very fast, right? So it would be 2 Texases in about 15 years, and then 4 Texases in 30 years, and in 60 years, and then another 15 years is going to be 8 Texases. In 100 years, you would have to cover the whole globe with solar power, right? That's not practical and can't be done. So I think nuclear will be the way to go, but we're not trading for what happened in 100 years. What we'll trade to happen in 10 years. I think we will see more companies come out, but this is also China is the coal issue here. And they cannot switch over to that. They don't have the money to switch to that right now. So they're going to keep burning coal as they continue to grow. And probably they'll end up burning 80% of the coal in the near future. But we're no longer even the second largest user of coal for energy. I believe India took us over. So now you have, as India is starting to urbanize it a lot, they're probably going to become the new China of coal. So it's just going to get worse when you have 2 large population countries burning coal for almost exclusively for all industrial and residential use. So expect coal to go up. I know in May of this year, a lot of institutions were buying up coal commodities and futures. So purchasing or trying to get in there now, I think you're probably a little bit late to the game. Okay. Actually, I'm certain you are. So I would just stay out of that one and talk to your advisor about maybe throwing a little bit something into green energies.
Okay,
I'm with Greg on that. The solar is so efficient right now, but nuclear, I worked for Bill Gates for a summer, or a year actually, and they were working on a nuclear reactor that built spent nuclear fuel cells, and it was crazy. We have so much nuclear waste, and that's why Greg was saying it gets a bad rap.
Well, you know what I'm going to take from all of what Greg said, that I was right and my husband was wrong. So there you go. Green energies. I'm right. He's still the heathen. There you go.
Yeah. We'd like to thank lead instructor at Options Players, Greg Krause, for his input today. And if you want to see that nuclear technology, take a look at TerraPower. And Greg, thanks for being with us here today.
Yeah, remember, if you've got a question, we can probably help try to answer it, or we know someone who can, and we would love to hear from you. So email us at wnw@optionsplayers.com or hit us up on social media at What's Next Wall Street. By the way, if you watch on YouTube, we do answer your questions. We do, we comment on your comments.
There you go. You can always, of course, watch any episode of What's Next Wall Street on the Options Players YouTube page, or listen on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcast. I'm Dave Mathews.
And I'm George Alfredas. See you next time.
On What's Next Wall Street.
Oh, we should be a band, right?